Good morning, everyone out there in the PVFL universe. Week 13 is officially in the books, and it is time to discuss the end of a historic PVFL season. Guys, this is your host, John Gillespie, for your weekly podcast, Commissioner's Corner, The Cap. Guys, here in The Cap, as always, we have one promise for you, and that is to make you a much smarter fantasy football player, yet a much dumber person. As I mentioned earlier, everybody, this is the final week of the regular season. And so before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our producer, as always, Superman himself, Pete Serba, for making all of this possible. Peter, your worth is far more than you even yourself expect. We thank you for everything you've done in this crazy year, all the hard work you have put in to make this podcast enjoyable, fun. I'm sure I speak for everybody when I say that we appreciate your hard work, my friend, and we thank you very much for your dedication to the PVFL. Alright guys, we have a lot to discuss. We've got to discuss the Week 13 matchups and the results. Talk about our playoff bracket because the playoffs is finally here. And we will look ahead to next week's wild card weekend. Exciting stuff, fellas and lady. So let's get right into it. To our game of the week for clinching the number 6 seed and winning when it counts and winning when you have to. Congratulations to you, Secret Squirrel, for grabbing the number 6 seed with a 123.1, 98.7 victory over Ivan and the Silent Ones. With the victory, Anna, you improved to 5-8, and Ivan, with the loss, you fall to a league worst 2-11. But Anna, your top performer was Rex Burkhead. Sexy Rexy, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a plethora of catches. #analysis. In tune to 25.3 fantasy points. Congratulations for that call, Anna. And for Ivan, your top performer was Marquise Lee. 7 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. In tune to 21.6 fantasy points. Ivan, this has been a tough year for you, my friend. I'm sure, as most rookies, it was a learning experience. But my friend, learn from this. Next year, come back better. You know the importance of a good draft now. I am confident that you will rebound next year and be a force to be reckoned with in the PVFL. Alright guys, moving on to the next game on the tally. The Chief versus the Thirsty King. The Chief once again comes out on top. It came down to Monday night and he won in a stunning fashion without his usual bread and butter pick, Tom Brady. His top performer this week was Travis Kelce, 25.4 fantasy points, 4 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns from Travis Kelce himself. The number 1 scoring tight end in fantasy, by the way, is Travis Kelce. What a beast. And for you, the Thirsty King, my friend, my brother in arms here, your top performer was AJ Green. 7 catches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns, in tune to 26.7 fantasy points. You rallied, Ethan. You came up just a tad short. It was a tough year, my friend. With the loss, you fall to 3-10. And Pedro, with the win, you improved to 9-4. Moving on to the next game on the tally. Belichick yourself versus the Little Lamb. Belichick yourself, unsurprisingly, comes out on top, 173.1 to 110.2. His top performer was none other than the Renaissance man himself, Alvin Kamara. 60 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a plethora of catches, #analysis, in tune to 29.6 fantasy points. With the victory, Belichick yourself improves to 9-4. And the Little Lamb, your top performer, was none other than Russell Wilson. 227 yards and 3 touchdowns in tune to 24.2 fantasy points. With the loss, Little Lamb falls to 4-9, and I mentioned Belichick yourself is 9-4. Moving on to the next game on the tally, Orange Crush versus I Love TDs. Congratulations, Juan, for breaking the record for most wins in a regular season with 11 wins with the victory, 138.7 to 118.7. Juan, your top performer was Tyreek the Streak. Where has he been? He's been missing for a little while, but it's good to see him back. 6 catches, 185 yards, and 2 touchdowns in tune to 36.5 fantasy points. And for you, Peter, your top performer was Robbie Anderson. 8 catches and 107 yards in tune to 19.4 fantasy points. With the loss, Peter, you fall to 7-6. Fun fact, guys, Peter Serpa's record for 3 consecutive years has been 7-6. Interesting nonetheless. Alright, guys, moving on to the last game on the tally. What's Cooking versus Killer Bealers. With the number 6 seed on the line, Nick falls a little short. Congratulations to Austin for pulling out a victory to having the second best record in the league at 10-3. He comes out on top, 124.8 over 98.9. Austin, your top performer was Alex Smith, 366 yards and 4 touchdowns to the tune of 37.6 fantasy points. And for you, Nick, your top performer was Big Ben Roethlisberger, 290 yards and 2 touchdowns in tune to 18 fantasy points. Alright, guys, that wraps up our week 13. So now let's look ahead to the playoff bracket. As usual, for the 11th week in a row, Juan Guzman is the number 1 overall seed at 11-2 with a record-setting 11-2. Austin Bennett is the number 2 seed with a record of 10-3. The Chief Pedro is the number 3 seed with a record of 9-4. Belichick yourself is the number 4 seed with a record of 9-4. Pedro has a tiebreaker over that crazy Monday night finish, by the way, back in week 8, I believe. Peter, you're the number 5 seed with a record of 7-6. And Anna, Secret Squirrel, playoff bound, squeaks in with the number 6 seed with a record of 5-8. Also, guys, that's another PVFL record for the most losses by a playoff team to clinch 8 losses. This has been a very special year, guys, in a lot of ways. This year, we have had the highest scoring game in PVFL history at 200.9. Had the highest scoring individual performance ever by Julio Jones, 50.9. We've had the most wins in a regular season by Juan Guzman with 11. We've had the most losses in a regular season by Ivan with a record record-setting 11 losses. Guys, this has been a special year in the PVFL. This is one of those years that we will look back on and see, and look back and really, appreciate how special it was. Also, another fun fact, both division winners, Orange Crush and Austin Bennett, What's Cooking, were not even the top scoring teams in their division, yet they won the division. Another record. So, guys, I can go on all day about stats. Belichick yourself scored the most amount of points ever in a 3-game stretch at almost 600 points. So I think it's like 575. Guys, really a special year. So we really, in spite of all these individual records and accomplishments as a league, we really can expect nothing less going forward into these playoffs. So guys, with that, let's look ahead to our Week 14 playoff wildcard weekend. The 2 games on the schedule, the Chief versus Secret Squirrel. Can Secret Squirrel pull off the improbable and become the 7-9 Seahawks and beat a team in the playoffs that's over 500? Can she pull that out? We will see. And can the defending champ beat the most dangerous opponent he's faced in the playoffs as far as strength of team? And can Belichick yourself get the monkey off his back and eliminate the defending champion? He's never advanced past the first round. Will this be the year? Very compelling stuff, guys. Very compelling stuff. A lot to look forward to. So the playoffs begin Thursday night with a thrilling matchup with lots of playoff implications. Atlanta versus New Orleans. That should be a fun game, guys. So that's all for today. I'm wrapping it up right here. Your host, John Gillespie, for your weekly podcast, The Cap. Again, another shout out to Pete for making this podcast possible. Congratulations to our playoff teams. The Chief, Secret Squirrel, Belichick, yourself, and Peter, along with Juan and Austin, for making the playoffs. That's always a fun thing. Alright, guys, until next time, go Packers.